Hello, welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. Another Wednesday, another whisky review with me, Joe. So this week I am reviewing the Eagle Rare 10-year-old single barrel bourbon. This is a bourbon whisky, bottled, distilled, matured and bottled all by Buffalo Trace at the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Kentucky, Bardstown. One of my favourite whiskies, I think, of all time, if I'm being completely honest, before I even smell it. Buffalo Trace uses quite a high rye content in their mash bill, and when we talk about mash bills and bourbon, we're talking about the different ratios of grain that they use. So for all bourbon, it has to use at least 51% corn grain to make up the kind of base spirit. So you get kind of buttery, sweet notes, kind of velvety texture from that corn grain. The rest of the mash bill, or the ratio of grains they use, can be made up of a variety of different grains. So predominantly rye is used quite a lot. You've got wheat, you've got barley, you've got oats, you've got rice, etc, etc, etc. Now rye gives a lot of spice and it also gives a lot of lightness to whiskey as well. If you use wheat, it kind of tends to be a bit sweeter and a bit softer. So as I say, this is a high rye content bourbon. Bottled at 45%. Single barrel as well, comes into the UK market around about the £45 mark. Lovely kind of copper colour, and all bourbon legally has to be matured in brand new charred American oak casks, American white oak, or Quercus alba as the Latin name for it. Let's give it a nose. It is just beautiful, and I remember when I tried this about a year and a half ago, longer than that, maybe 3-4 years ago when I first tried this. I wasn't convinced by bourbon. I'd only really tried, Scotch whisky, Irish whisky, and I associated bourbon with being kind of, cheaper, but tried this and it just blew me away. So anyway, let's get to the nose. So on the nose, I get that lovely buttery smell, buttery popcorn. I get grilled kind of pecans or pecans, however you want to say it. Kind of roasted hazelnuts. I get a kind of slight, almost like sweet mint type thing going on. And mint you'll often find comes from the rye grain that they use, that kind of fresh mintiness. I get honey, I get chocolate, I get vanilla, which again you'd expect for a bourbon. I get kind of a sweet dried red fruit, so kind of sweet cranberries. It really is stunning. It's got the complexity of, say, like a 15 to 16-year-old Scotch whisky. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, chocolate, vanilla, white chocolate, hazelnuts, pecan, everything. Beautiful. Vanilla essence, vanilla pods. Right, let's give it a little taste. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The first thing you notice about bourbon whiskey when you compare it to like a Scotch whiskey is it feels different in the mouth. There's a kind of it's definitely more oily, more buttery, and it also it starts to kind of go slightly dry as well because of that kind of the oaky tannins. So taste-wise, I get a vanilla, I get white chocolate, I get a little bit of kind of mocha, that kind of slight coffee note that comes through. I get sweet red cherries. Let's give it another taste. What else do I get? Right, creme brulee, creme caramel, kind of sweet pastry, kind of stewed apple, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, all the spices. It's beautiful. And finish-wise, let me give you one more taste and I'll tell you about the finish. It's just stunning. It really, really is. Finished. It's long. It's got a lovely, strong, upfront oakiness, that sweet, that vanilla. And then it goes spicy and dry on the finish as well. And it's a long finish. For something that's only 10 years old, has got a lovely, long finish. That is, honestly, if you're not convinced by bourbon whiskey, right, and you think it's an inferior product, well, firstly, you're wrong. Secondly, try this, okay? It will change your mind, or it should change your mind about bourbon. I think it's absolutely stunning. Buffalo Trace, as a distillery, is the most highly awarded distillery in the world. It's won more awards than any other distillery. And Eagle Rare has won countless awards. That, for me, value for money for £45, honestly, it's a 9.5 out of 10. It's ridiculous. It's amazingly good value, and I think in America it's even cheaper. Yeah, I don't think there's many bourbons that come close, in my personal opinion, to being at the quality that this is at that price point. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. 9.5 out of 10. That's one of my highest scores of the year so far, I believe, for the Eagle Rare 10-year-old. Please let me know what you think. If you tried it, if you disagree with me, let me know. I'd love to know your opinions. Leave me a comment in the box below. Please share the video. Send it to Buffalo Trace. Tweet them. I'll be tweeting them on my Whiskey Tube account on Twitter. And I will see you next week for yet another whiskey review with me, Joe. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.